On paper, the Colorado looks like a perfect mid-sized pickup, strong in pretty much every field that matters, but real-world use has revealed some concerning issues, whether it's build quality, reliability, efficiency, or the overall driving experience. Stay with us because we found 6 big problems that make us wonder what in the world is going on with the Chevrolet Colorado. Let's take a closer look. Number 6. Build quality. There's a thing owners and potential buyers are complaining about the current generation Colorado. That would be the build quality. Because despite the last redesign brought notable improvements in terms of performance and technology, many feel that the overall build quality went down. Of course, we live in a highly competitive era where automakers are doing all they can to reduce production costs and increase profit, but still, some things are very hard to understand. For example, many people complained about the quality of the paint job. There are many reports about a lot of dirt in the paint, along with all other kinds of minor blemishes. Many owners noticed that only after the purchase, but thankfully, most of them were offered to fix the problem by repainting under warranty. Other extended quality concerns were reported as well. For example, weld strips can be clearly seen in various areas of the truck, especially in the cargo bed, where these strips rest completely transparent, leaving the product look quite unfinished. Then we could mention that the hood struts have been removed, while the tailgate doesn't feel as solid as it used to be. Probably the most bizarre is the case when one potential buyer noticed logos with letters on doors and in other areas that are not properly lined, which perfectly illustrates the way that the company is addressing quality concerns. We are aware that trucks are not what they used to be, but this seems a bit too much. Number 5. Interior quality. We could argue whether pickups need to be particularly refined on the inside and whether truck drivers care about that too much, but the fact is that trucks are getting more upscale and more luxurious, and that's no longer reserved for full-size models either. The mid-size segment improved a lot, and even Colorado's redesign brought notable improvements. Its cabin looks way more attractive with a fancy dashboard, modern tech features, and things like that. But once you take a second look, you'll realize that other than nicer aesthetics and a few areas with soft-touch materials, things are not particularly great. Moreover, the vast majority of the cabin is still wrapped with low-rent materials, while many aspects of the interior design even look worse than before. Simply put, the build quality is not as good as it used to be. For example, there's the glove compartment, which looks significantly less solid compared to the one in the previous generation. Sun visors, mirror covers, rear doors, all these things feel lighter and flimsier, which indicates that there's been a pretty serious cost-cutting action there. Occasional rattles and other strange noises are present too, while many complain about the big disparity between entry-level and range-topping models, and the way that the base versions look cheaper than they should, and that there's a notable lack of tech features that are considered essential these days. Number 4. Transmission issues. The Colorado has been known for its transmission issues for a long time. The previous generation, which is still quite popular in the used truck market, was problematic in particular. Complaints were numerous and issues would start at pretty low mileage. The most common issues are those referred to shudder and vibration, but there wasn't a small number of owners that reported problems with improper shifting, while the truck would literally shake in some cases. With all these issues in mind, Chevy engineers put more focus on the transmission in the new generation. There's a new 8-speed unit, more refined and more efficient. But does it mean that all issues are gone? From what we can find in reports, the current generation seems to have fewer transmission problems than its predecessor. But if you think that all the troubles are gone, you're wrong. The new 8-speed automatic gearbox definitely provides better performance and efficiency, but some drivers have reported things like rough shifting. Cases of hesitation during acceleration are common too. Still, the biggest issues are related to software, to the so-called adaptive transmission system that learns drivers' habits and adjusts shifting patterns. Well, the only problem is that the system doesn't adapt properly, and that, in some cases, causes erratic shifting or hesitation. According to some reports, software updates seem to fix the problem, but many owners needed multiple attempts to resolve the issue. Number 3. Electrical issues. The newer Colorado models are loaded with modern tech features and various power accessories, and while that definitely makes the ride more convenient, it can also lead to various problems. For example, there's the infotainment system. The new software generally works pretty well as the system is responsive and easy to use. The graphics are great and the screen is quite large. But in many cases, owners reported that the screen would suddenly go all black or remain frozen. Most of them managed to solve the issue in a pretty bizarre way. but disconnecting the negative side of the battery and reconnecting it in a few moments. Bluetooth connectivity would work sometimes, while troubles with Sirius XM radio, volume controls, and other audio system features were reported as well. Once again, the problem would usually be solved by simply disconnecting and reconnecting the negative side of the battery. But to be honest, software issues are not exclusively Colorado's thing. Other GM models suffer from the same problems too, particularly the latest electric models, which were so problematic that GM engineers were forced to complete revisions of their software, which led to the situation where their cars are missing some of the quintessential features, particularly integration with third-party services, such as smartphone integration and similar things. Number 2. Ride quality. Although pickup trucks are primarily designed for work, the ongoing trend in the industry is that these vehicles are becoming smoother and more comfortable. For example, the recent Tacoma redesign brought a complete revision of the rear suspension, which now includes a multi-link setup, which ensures much better on-road manners. The Honda Ridgeline has been using a refined suspension setup for years, but to be honest, that one is a little bit different breed. The Colorado, on the other hand, didn't get too many revisions with the latest redesign. Yes, it got lighter and a wider track, but it also kept good old leaf springs on the rear end. These definitely contribute to Colorado's class-leading towing ratings, but on the other hand, they've also have a negative impact on the ride quality. Its suspension setup is firm, even by the segment standards, while we also don't like the steering feel, which is too vague. Still, we have to say a few words of praise regarding Colorado's maneuverability, because it definitely feels like a smaller vehicle behind the wheel when navigating tight spaces. Another negative side of Colorado's ride quality is the sound insulation. Simply, there's too much road and wind noise, especially if you pick off-road oriented models with higher ground clearance and chunkier tires. The driving position could be better too, and taller drivers would definitely use more adjustability options, but all these are not necessarily weak points. The Colorado is still probably the best work companion in the class, with a rugged design and class-leading towing capacity. Clearly, it's an old-school pickup, so customer satisfaction largely depends on what they expect from a truck. If that's the hard-working nature, then the Colorado is still one of the best options on the market, so we could agree that it all comes down to personal preferences. Number 1. Turbo 4 powertrain and its efficiency. The powertrain was probably the biggest change we saw with the last redesign. The current generation Colorado is equipped with one of the most capable engines in the class. All variants come with the same 2.7-liter Turbo 4 that puts out 310 horsepower and an impressive 430 pound-feet of torque. That's way better compared to previous naturally aspirated units. The low-end throttle and throttle response in general are not even comparable. The new Colorado is a real joy to drive. With all that power in mind, it doesn't surprise that Colorado still holds the leading position in terms of towing and payload capacity with ease. All that low-end torque ensures that the max towing capacity goes all the way up to 7,700 pounds, while the max payload is rated at over 1,700 pounds. But not all things about that Turbo 4 are great, because we would normally expect that one of the reasons for such a change was to improve its fuel efficiency. Apparently, that's not the case with this 2.7-liter unit. Moreover, it's actually thirstier than the old V6, notably. While the old 6-cylinder unit was rated at 18 miles per gallon city and 24 miles per gallon highway, the best you can get from the new Turbo 4 is 17 miles per gallon city and 21 miles per gallon highway. It's a bit of a difference, especially on the highway. And if you also add to the equation that the old V6 is way smoother, it doesn't surprise that many owners feel a little bit nostalgic about the previous powertrain, despite the superior power, torque, and overall performance of the new unit. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.